Hey friends, Steve Guttenberg here. This is the Audiophiliac Daily Show, and today is part 2 of my interview with Nelson Pass of First Watt and Pass Labs. This time, well, Nelson is a collector. As you've seen from some of my other videos, he's got a lot of stuff, but he's lately been into collecting drivers and speakers, so we get into that a bit. He wants to hear, well, the way he hears his amplifiers is with speakers, so it makes sense that he has more than one or two around. We also talked about the ESS air motion transformer. Now, ESS, the speaker company, which Nelson worked for way back, I guess in the 70s, they made air motion transformers, Heil air motion transformers, and now they're making new ones that are based on the old ones. They don't look like the air motion transformers you see in other speakers. He was talking about that and his wife worked at ESS, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it's a really fun interview. We had a good time together. So stay tuned for part 2. If you've missed part 1, check out part 1. But for now, let's hear what Nelson has to say.
So remember, I'm going to do an amp. Well, not me personally, because I can't solder or see, but this friend of mine, when things return to semi-normal, that was the plan. So hopefully that'll happen.
Oh, I can send you that.
Okay.
And I'll get DIY Audio to send you a chassis and stay with it. So
yeah, because we were talking about that before the whole thing happened back in February, I guess we were talking about it. So do you dream about designing stuff?
No.
Never.
I will wake up with ideas.
Okay, that's what I was leading to. You wake up and you say, I got something, I got to write it down right away so I don't forget it?
Well, usually I just wake up, and then I got nothing better to do than think. Okay. And so, and in that process, something will flit across your brain. And yes, or a phrase which was particularly apt describing something that I was trying to communicate.
Yeah. Sometimes when I go to bed and I'm thinking about something, I wake up with the solution to my problem.
I'm not saying it's never happened, but I don't recall when it has.
Okay.
Well, most of the stuff evolves over fairly long periods of time. I mean, F8. What are we? We're in year 5. Actually, we're in year 6 or 7 because it was in process for a couple of years before that.
Wow. So, other than the beast of 1,000 watts or 10,000 watts, what's the thing you're most proud of?
Oh, you mean the beast of 1,000 JFETS?
JFETS, I'm sorry.
Yeah. What am I most proud of? Jeez. I don't know. Yeah, it's like having a favorite kid.
Right, I know.
It doesn't make sense, but they are all different.
Well, I could speak in broader categories. Just that you had this idea of starting the First Watt as a company to make these non-pass amplifiers is completely separate.
Something that was ostensibly less commercial.
Ostensibly, but in reality?
Well, the reality is some of the stuff has become reasonably commercial. I mean, the J2 is a fine example. The SPID amplifiers flew out the door instantaneously. And the last bits of those are finally, there's one last run in process. And they came back and went, I'd be talking out of school, but a magazine editor had listed it among the recommended components this year, but was concerned that they might not be available. And he said, as a matter of policy, we would not do this if they can't go buy one.
Right.
And I said, well, if I crank out some more, so that they're still available at the time that the issue comes out, with that, and he goes, that'll be just fine. I'll take your word on that. So in point of fact, I dredged up the parts for 30 more. I was kind of like not wanting to do that because it's I always like to have a little stash for myself, and of course you got to be able to cover some warranty work too.
Of course, yeah. But you've said the SITs have been super reliable, right?
After I put a Zener diode protection on the input, because I found out that if you throw 40 volts at the input, it would take out the FET.
Oh yeah, you were telling me.
I had one guy who blew out 4 of them in one day, and he's going, "What is it with you?" And I go, "Well, wait a minute. What are you using?" "Oh, well, I've got this guy's prototype tube preamp." I went, "Okay, well, whatever it is, it has a thump that's 40 volts or greater."
Yikes.
That's huge. That's on you know, I haven't seen any, you know, what I would consider to be commercially responsible outfit that actually sends something out that bad.
So you're playing with any different speakers since I was there?
Oh, tons of speakers. Well, let's see. I just got a pair of JBL 4343s from the old days.
Okay, I don't know that one at all.
But it was actually a studio piece. But they've become a kind of a collector's item, and
This is
I have an absolutely cherry pair.
from the 70s or the 80s?
That would be the late 70s, as far as I know. I could check.
Right.
The L300 came out in like 73. That was Greg Timbers. Greg, I own a pair, or I should say my brother-in-law, Kent, now owns a pair. The Greg Timbers of JBL design fame, that was the first speaker that he designed at JBL, and I believe back in 73. I wrote an article about it in which I improved his crossover network. But what I really did is I toned it down, because I go, well, nobody's going to try to run these in a disco at the volume levels it was designed to take. If we back off on what we think of as the protection aspect of the crossover, then maybe we can build something that's a little better. So I modified it according to that, with the caveat that one wouldn't really try to throw 300-400 watts at it. Interestingly, it was very slightly better. It's very difficult to improve on Greg's work. Yeah. Anyways, so I got those. And then, do you know Great Plains Audio?
I know the name, but
yeah, the guys who make old Altec speakers. I mean, they make the drivers as in the way that they were made once upon a time. Okay. And there is I have a pair of 604 coaxial 15-inch.
Uh-huh.
In some nice boxes put together by a very nice gentleman. So I've got those to play with. I've got a nice pair of cubes. I think you heard the cubes when you were here.
Right, I did. I
need to put some more work into those. And let me think. Oh yeah, I also, I got some Radians, which are the 15-inch coaxials with the Radian horn compression driver in the middle.
Oh,
they're kind of like a modern version of those tannoys that you heard when you were here.
Uh-huh.
And I'm looking forward to getting those hooked up. Oh, and as you know, my first real job in the industry was with ESS.
Right.
And ESS is still in business, and there's and they're located down in Southern California, and they are selling original Heil drivers. It's the original design, okay? All right. And they're $150 a piece, which is a bargain.
Yeah.
I mean, that they used to cost that to make.
Right.
And and they've come out also, they not only have, but apparently are either coming out or have come out by now with some shorter versions of those. But these are the big original Heil
transformers. Really big, right? They're like
it's about 7 inches tall. You know, your AMT ones. You're familiar with that. Oh. And they so anyways, so I ordered them online, and Ricky, the guy there, calls me up and goes, "Oh, this is amazing," because he knows that I worked at ESS. And also, his wife is folding the diaphragms. Okay, for the Heil diaphragms, she's got the job. She's folding the diaphragms. I said, I know she would love to talk to my wife, Jill. She folded the diaphragms back at ESS in the old days. But she graduated out of there into quality assurance. In fact, she became head of quality control after a couple of years. Yeah, well, I started out making speakers.
Right. So you think you would ever do it again?
No.
That was quick. It's
too much. It's too much work.
Too much work.
It's just like I don't build Bing amplifiers anymore. I can't lift them.
Yeah. I know about the can't lifting part.
Well, my wife and I think you've heard this story, but the internet hasn't.
Okay.
Have an agreement about the living room, not my sound room downstairs, but the living room, which is it needs to be a static system. No new equipment is swapped in or out. All the cables are neatly dressed and hidden away, and and nothing changes, in any real fashion. And but that's the system that we sit down at night and listen to, even if we're watching TV. But if I'm listening to music, it's got the nice vinyl setup, and we're happy. It's got XA60.5s. I would go to the 0.8s on those, but they won't fit in those enclosures. And if there wouldn't be any ventilating space left. And if they did, they probably would break the shelf, because between those two models, they got a lot beefier.
Mm.
Amplifiers, power amps and preamps. That's us. Don't look for a hell of a lot else. I have a personal interest in crossovers because I always have a personal interest in fooling around with speakers. And I think that there's active crossovers is really, it's an area of the industry that's I think ripe for some growth that beyond what it's done already. So, but it's also, they're easy to do. My computer can do a pretty decent job simulating the filters. I can put them together. I can carry them. I can lift them. and as an activity, it doesn't interfere with anything else.
Mm. Why not? Exactly.
Yeah. I've got it good. I get to do what's fun.
You got the best job.
That's right. And actually, we're figuring out exactly how we should, innovate this stuff.
It sounded like
we do everything very gradually.
We're going to make basically bigger XA25s. That the future, the higher powered amps would be more like XA25s with more juice.
Some of them. And then also we have some of the big SITs coming, which are the industrial, I guess you'd call them industrial JFETS. And these are going to be, they're a whole other direction. And we were talking earlier about the sound of the single-ended triodes and what I did with the SIT 1, 2, and 3. Now, the SIT 1 and 2 and 3 had a little 50-watt SIT at their heart.
Okay.
These are like 400 watt at their heart, and we're still working on it in terms of figuring out exactly how we want to use them and what kind of product that really has to be. But I know as a base issue, some kind of really simple single-ended amplifier is going to have to be part of that picture because it's just too cute to pass up.
But it'll be a pass slabs product, not a first watt.
Probably. There's nothing's written in stone.
Okay. Well, it wouldn't be low power. That's why I thought so.
It will be higher power. We haven't exceeded 25 watts or so.
Right.
And this is stuff that will get us into the approaching 100 watt.
Oh, well, there you go. Wow.
But it'll be different, and I don't think it will replace other 100-watt product like the balanced Class A's that we run. They're going to, I think, are going to mutate in a slightly different direction. But the SITs are too attractive to pass up.
What was that big transistor you showed me? Germanium? I always mispronounce it.
Oh, the germaniums?
Germanium, yeah. Get anywhere with those?
No, I haven't had the time.
Okay.
I don't have any time. Believe me. I start out in the morning. I spend my first hour answering emails, right. And I'm still behind. Right. And then I have to go cruise check out my flock over at the DIY Audio and make sure that they haven't gotten themselves into trouble. Right. And then I have to walk the dog, and so it's afternoon before I can settle down to do any work, and even then there's lots of interruptions and stuff. So,
oh, I like to stay busy. If I don't have something to do, I get antsy.
Oh, I got too much to do. I have a screen wide by about 30 rows high spreadsheet filled with what I'm doing for the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like I went back 10 years. I've been keeping this thing for 10 years, scrolling along. In the old days, there was just a few things. You could flip the whole screen and it'd be like one or two things, And now it's like there's very little empty space.
Anyway, thanks. Thanks for doing this.
Well, a pleasure as always.
There'll be more, I guess. I hope.
Sure. Now that we've got this all figured out and I got the microphone turned up.
Yeah. Easy pie. Easy as pie.
Starting to look like the way to do things.
All right. Well, this is
okay.
fun.
You have a good one.
You too.
Thanks very much.
Say hi to Jill for me.
I will do that.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.